There are more than 10,000 known species of ants living throughout the world. Ants can be identified by the constriction between the abdomen and thorax that looks like a narrow waist. Their bodies are covered with a hard armor called the exoskeleton. Most ants are either red or black in color, and length can be anywhere from 1/3 to 1/2. Like other insects, they have 6 legs, each with 3 joints. Ants have large heads with compound eyes, elbowed antennae, and powerful jaws. There are 3 types of adult ants living in the colony: the queen, female ants, and male ants. Queen ants are the largest ants in the colony. They have wings and their purpose is to lay eggs. The queens can live up to 30 years. Depending on the ant species and the nest community size, there may be 1 or more queens in the colony. The ant life cycle has 4 stages of development: egg, larva, pupa, and adult. The queen lays the eggs, which will hatch into larvae in a couple of days. The helpless larvae are fed and groomed by the worker ants until they pass through the pupal stage. In a little more than a week, an adult ant will emerge and the metamorphosis is complete. 1. Ants are millions of years in Earth. Some species of ants have been in existence for around 100 million years. Ants survived a mass extinction event known as Cretaceous-Tertiary that wiped out many dinosaurs and other prehistoric animal species approximately 65 million years ago. A study from Harvard and Florida State Universities discovered that ants first rose during the Cretaceous period around 130 million years ago. They have survived the Cretaceous-Tertiary (K/T) extinction that killed the dinosaurs as well as the Ice Age. 2. Ants don't have some body parts. Ants don't have ears. Instead of hearing through auditory canals, ants hear by feeling vibrations in the ground. Special sensors on their feet and on their knees help ants interpret signals from their surroundings. Ants also use their antennae and the hairs on their body to feel around while foraging for food. Ants don't have lungs due to their small size. Ants don't have the room to accommodate a complex respiratory system such as ours. Instead, they have their own ways of respiration to help transport oxygen around their bodies. Ants breathe in oxygen through spiracles, which are a series of holes located on the sides of their bodies. The spiracles are connected through a network of tubes which help distribute the oxygen to almost every cell in their body. An ant's movement helps the oxygen to circulate through the tubes, with the released carbon dioxide exiting through said tubes as well. 3. Ants are super strong for physically. Yes, you did read that correctly. Ants are ridiculously strong. They have the ability to carry between 10 and 50 times their own body weight. The amount an ant can carry depends on the species. The Asian weaver ant, for example, can lift 100 times its own mass. This amazing strength is a result of their small size. Mussels have a greater cross-sectional area relative to their body size compared to larger animals. This means they can produce more force. 4. Every ants have specific jobs in their colony. Ants are very social insects, and they divide jobs among different types of ants in each colony. The queen or queens have only one job: to lay eggs. All other female ants are workers. They feed the larvae, take out the colony's trash, forage for food and supplies, or defend the nest. Male ants' only job is to mate with the queen. Ants take the spirit of cooperation to a whole new level. As many as 50 million ants can come together to function as one highly organized, efficient colony. 5. Colonies are bigger than the average ant farm. Ant colonies come in literally all shapes and sizes. A few species live in colonies of only a few dozen ants. However, the average ant colony contains thousands of individual ants. Smaller colonies live in natural crevices or openings, while larger colonies create vast nests and forage for supplies and food. There are also super colonies around the world that can contain more than 300 million individuals. These super colonies have been identified in Japan, Australia, the the United States, and southern Europe. 6. Ants' life cycles. Unlike some bugs who might only live for days or even hours, the queen ant of one particular species, the Pagonomyrmex oehii, can live up to 30 years, so be careful not to stand on her. An ant's life begins as an egg. Ant eggs are soft, oval, and tiny, about the size of a period at the end of a sentence. Ants undergo complete metamorphosis, passing through a sequence of 4 stages: egg, larva, pupa, and adult. Generally, ants have a short life cycle. It only takes from 6 to 10 weeks to complete the life cycle, depending on things such as the ant species and environmental conditions. 7. Ants' food. Ants are omnivorous. Ants eat everything in nature. They feed on the milk of aphids and other small hemiptera, insects, and small living or dead invertebrates, as well as the sap of plants and various fruits. They also eat insect eggs. Sugar is basically an edible form of energy, so ants recognize this about sugar. That is why they exploit any sugar source as much as they can. Sugar, honey, and some other sweeteners will provide an ant with enough energy go about its busy day. 8. The largest ant's nest ever found was over 3,700 miles wide. Found in Argentina in 2000, the ginormous colony housed 33 ant populations which had merged into one giant super colony, with millions of nests and billions of workers. 9. Ants can become zombies. Perhaps the strangest ant fact: there is a species of fungus that infects ants and takes control of their bodies. The fungus finds its way underneath the ant's exoskeleton and begins to consume soft tissue. Shortly after, by unknown mechanisms, it causes the ant to leave its colony. The ant then finds a leaf, bites it with a death grip, and dies. A few days later, the fungus releases spores to infect more ants. Some ant species have learned to recognize infected colony mates and will carry them far away to protect the rest of the colony. 10. Ants are found, almost, everywhere on Earth. Ants are found on every continent on Earth except Antarctica. A few islands such as Greenland do not have any native ant species, but individual ants have been brought in through human travel. The vast distribution of ants is rivaled only by that of humans. Very impressive for such little guys. Despite how fascinating these ant facts may be, ant control and management around the home are important for health and safety reasons. If you suspect an ant infestation, visit our Find a Pro page to find a pest control professional in your area. 11. Ants are slave makers. This may sound strange, but hear us out. Some species of ant, such as the Polyergus lucidus, are known as slave-making ants. They invade neighboring ant colonies, capturing its inhabitants and forcing them to work for them. This process is known as slave raiding. Slave-making ants are specialized to parasite a single species or a group of related species which are often close relatives to them. The captured ants will work as if they were in their own colony, while the slave-making workers will only concentrate on replenishing their labor force. Slave-making ants come in 2 formats: permanent social parasites and facultative slave makers. Permanent social parasites rely on the enslaved ants throughout their lives, whilst facultative slave makers do not. 12. Ants have 2 stomachs. That's right, ants have 2 stomachs, and it's not because they are greedy. One of their stomachs is for holding food for their own consumption, and the second one is to hold food to be shared with other ants. This process is known as trophallaxis and allows an ant colony to work extremely efficiently. It allows for the ants who forage for food to feed those which stay behind and tend to the duties of the queen and the nest.